on this episode of Spanos Antics. We take the Volvo, we change the axle, we upgrade the rear suspension. Time for the Volvo to get some well-needed rear axle upgrades. First thing we do is I go off on a 4-hour jaunt to go and find 2 axles that were used by a banger racer. So here we go. Fingers crossed they're not going to be knackered, but they're the beefier version of the 240 axle, which is the 1031 Dana, not the 1030, which I've got at the moment. So bigger ring pinion, and also the gearing's better. It's a 354 instead of the 390. It has been welded, not ideal, be alright for this one weekend. This weekend we're going drag racing, and I need 2-wheel drive really, instead of a 1-wheel peel. So these are the parts I've got. I've got them from a company called Classic Swede, who makes stocks quite a lot of Volvo stuff, whether it be 240, 740, 940, all that sort of stuff. He's pretty much the main guy really in the UK for all the parts. Something a little while to come, but a lot of it's custom made only for this application. So, but yeah, all good. Did have a massive disaster of these. They were actually stolen, and all the parts got sent to the old workshop. Problem was, there was no one there. It was empty. It's all cleared out. Now the delivery driver thought, well, So he did a fake signature, took a photo of an empty workshop with no boxes in it, just an empty picture, did a fake signature, put the name Bob down, and the delivery driver went off with the parcels. And that was that. I went to try and track them down. I know everyone in the area anyway. Really weird. Says it's been delivered. So I rang them up. They were like, that's when they sent me the picture and all the evidence to say it'd been delivered. And I was like, it's not here. It hasn't been delivered. Anyway, the lady, I've been called back again, phone calls and emails and all this faff trying to track it down. Eventually I found out that the company, ACP, had outsourced the delivery of this parcel to a third party. And they then passed me on to another number to a local company that deal with outsourced deliveries or whatever it is. They then rang the driver and I was put on hold for about 20 minutes. And then the lady comes back on the phone, kind of weird, just goes, oh, the parcel will be with you in an hour. I was like, well, where is it? Oh, no, it will just be with you in an hour. Really odd. So this is the workshop I'm not at anymore. Anyways. So I go and speak to the guys there and say, there's a parcel coming. And apparently, I wasn't there to witness it. They basically just threw these parcels down on the floor and drove off. All the parcels have been opened, everything been unwrapped and binned through. So whoever had it thought, empty workshop, will fake sign the parts, hopefully they'll never know. They'd obviously gone through it all to see what was there and what they could maybe sell or do with it. But pretty niche stuff, and obviously it maybe just been sat on it, but yeah, there's a few bits missing. Luckily, they're going to send them out to me. Classic Swede are. But yeah, it took me like a week and a half to track it down and get it back. Thank God I got it back, because we waited like 3 or 4 months to get these parts. I don't want to be waiting again, because I'm racing this weekend. So yeah, this weekend. So we're going to be putting some of these parts in and getting it up and running. This is going to be its probably last race of the year, and then I'm going to blow it apart and go through all the little niggly bits to get it absolutely perfect. So yeah. Anyway, let's go and put this all together, strip the Volt axle out, take the old axle out, put the new axle in, and see if we get 2-wheel drive. See you in a bit. axle's pretty much out. I think we're ready. Big drop. The Volvo 240 early and later axles, also known as the 1030 and the 1031, all based around a Dana 30 axle. Now there are two different versions. One is quite a bit stronger than the other. So let's take a closer look. If we look at them both here, you can see, so the 31 actually has a larger ring and pinion, not as in numerically, but as in physically larger. I forget the exact size as well, I'll put them up. So this has got a fairly flat top, the 30, and the 31, you see that dome? And that's the extra space needed for that larger ring to go round and round. So that's one thing to look out for. We also have this extra mount on this axle. I believe this one's got two ribs on one side. There you go. It's got two ribs, which you don't see on all of them, so, but it does on that one. And this one's just got single webs on both edges. Going around to the back. Now the early axle didn't have any electrical pickup. So another way to sort of tell for late and early, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you, but if you've got an electrical pickup for the on the rear axle for your Speedo, and that kind of shows it's a later axle. Let's pop them open and have a look inside. We've got the two next to each other here, just draining out the new/old Banger Race axle. Feels a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit grungy, it's just been sat about. No, I was saying about this axle feeling like it wasn't attached to the car. I think this might be one of the reasons. Check this out. This is the rear bush. It is. I think you can call that worn. It's actually not attached anymore. We got new poly bushes, so it doesn't matter. Here we are with them open. Now this one has been messed about with and welded and stuff, so ignore the fact that this cage has been cut. But so it's got the pickup ring, and it's cut off. You see the few differences. There's a much deeper cutout in the top part of the pressing on this one. So these rear bushes in the back here are notorious being a bastard to get out. The best way, so I've been told, is to burn them out. And that's that. One bush reduced to ash. Now it just needs a bit of honing and a bit of cleaning out, and it's ready for the poly bushes. So these are the bushes, the poly bushes that replace this worn out bush. So I just need to important to grease these up so they don't squeak and bang them in. Okay, So this is the axle going back in the car. Okay, next stage is we're replacing the top arms on our four-link, or I think they're called torque arms on a Volvo. Now these are the replacements we've got. Now they're bigger, chunkier, poly-bushed, and most importantly, adjustable. So as you wind these centres, you can expand and contract them to set the correct pinion angle on the Volvo. Right, well that's them in. They do look quite sexy in there, to be honest. Along with the new poly lower bushes. Boom. Next part, we're replacing the stock cut down springs. So I cut down quite a lot by the time I got to the end. I saw a stock one the other day. They're about that high. For this, which is the classic Swede adjustable unit. It's a fairly generic spring, I think, with different weights. And we've just got this adjustable collar that sits the other way around, but you get the idea, and that's just a locking ring. Let's bang them in. The new springs and adjustable bottoms are all in. Had a bit of fun with the handbrakes. They're a bit of a cock. These roll bars in. My adjustable panel barb haven't turned up yet. Well, the bushes haven't turned up, the missing ones. I need to set up my geometry up. I haven't tidied this axle up because I don't know if it actually works. Next up is shocks. Originally, these big bad boys. These made me, being a Volkswagen air-cooled guy, I had a little look through the parts department. I've got this. It's actually a Volkswagen Beetle shock. Now, I think the only complications I'm going to have, top, I think is going to be fine. The bottom, I might have to hammer out the collars. That was a mission. I've just spent 2 hours with the vice, pushing and pressing out bushings and bearings. So this has got a weird old offset on this spring. So what I had to do was press out this bushing, press it into the Beetle one, and that's all good. And the bottom, because it was skinnier, what I did instead of pressing this out, because it was such a mission, is you see that little extended rod thing in there? It comes with anyway. So I just cut new ones. They look like this. Luckily I had some of the correct tube, so I just cut a slightly longer one. And that's all done. Oh, mission. Well, it's all back together. God, it's been a bit of a bitch. Lots of little issues. So I ran it up on the axle stands, just in gear. Axle sounds okay, a little bit grumbly. I've drained it all of oil and cleaned it all out and refilled it, so maybe the oil's not got everywhere yet. So yeah, not feeling that optimistic. I've set the suspension height, but the Beetle shocks are at their limit, only about 10 mil of positive travel. So yeah, I was pissing with rain, so the test run's gonna be fine. But yeah, let's drop on the floor and go and have a test run. Well, that's the axle all buttoned up. I went out for a little test ride that night and it was hashing with rain, but it went okay. Its cruise is slightly better. The limited slips, the welded diff is a bit shit for driving around corners. The next episode on the Volvo will be back at the drag strip, chasing the 13s. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe. That was it for this episode on the rear axle and rear suspension. And we'll see you on the next episode for drag racing.